Nerdy News. I'm your host, Gray Falcon. We're going to go ahead and get straight into it today. We've got a lot that we're still getting caught up on from the couple of days that I was down, plus a bunch of new information. So today might be a little bit of a long one. But we're going to start off really quick with an update. So over on Gamespot, they had a report the other day talking about how Watch Dogs Legion was overheating Xbox One X's, and they have now put out a patch in order to fix this. So if you are experiencing this problem or have been holding off on playing the game or purchasing the game because of this bug, it should be safe now to go out, download this new patch that was released yesterday, and continue playing. They say that this has fixed the overheating issues with this game. And then we've got information on Xbox Games with Gold for November, where we have a full list of 4 new games with Arkami coming out November 1st through the 30th. And then we have Swim Sanity for November 16th through the 15th. Then an old Xbox game, Full Spectrum Warrior, available from the 1st through the 15th. And then a 360 game for Indiana Jones Lego. So that'll be available November 16th through the 30th. We also have PlayStation Plus's November monthly games, and they are Bugsnax free with PlayStation 5. Now, this is only for PlayStation 5 that you will receive Bugsnax free, and it will be available for a longer period of time. It'll be available through January 4th. And then it's going to go away. So if you pick up a new system this holiday, get it through Christmas, you'll be able to have this free game that everyone has been talking about how cute and entertaining it looks. Then they're also offering Shadow of War and Hollow Knight for November. And then we're going to get over into some more PlayStation news where we have an exclusive that has been announced. So Temtem makes its console debut exclusively on PlayStation 5. If you haven't heard of Temtem, I have been playing it for a little while. It is a PC game. It came out on beta on Steam. You could pick it up at like $30 when it was first announced last year or earlier this year in the spring, something like that. And just been able to play through that and enjoy a very Pokemon style playthrough, but it's not Pokemon. It plays very differently in regards to some of the systems and styles. They apparently had a lot of conversation with the people in the Pokemon community to find out what they wanted from Pokemon and how they wanted Pokemon to grow. And because of that, they were able to come up with a game that does more than what Pokemon does. It feels like you're getting an actual evolution of the Pokemon game for once, rather than just continuing on with the same old for story and progression and how most of those things work. So I highly suggest you go over, check it out. You should be able to find streams of it over here on Twitch, or you could probably find videos of it over on YouTube if you want to check it out. And other updates from PlayStation, Days Gone gets a massive 25 gigabyte update before PS5 launch. So no one knows what all is going into this. It speaks of added optional stability improvements, addresses crashing issues, fixed frame rate drop and lag issues, and performance and stability performance. But that's not a whole lot for a 25 gig update. We would think that we'd be getting more out of this. So there's some speculation that this game has this update coming, and it's going to be because of the PlayStation enhancements that have to go into that. This game is a part of PlayStation Plus collection, so you'll be able to download this, play it. The game overall was not critically well received. However, from individuals, the game was found to be very enjoyable, and it's one of those things where they talk about how the game probably had issues critically because a lot of the things that you do are very repetitive, and when you are trying to grind through that and it's just a slog for trying to do it for a review, it becomes very irritating and very repetitive, and something that people are kind of getting tired of in the review industry. But people who aren't in the review industry, who don't sit there and try and play the game 40 hours straight every day to try and beat it, didn't have that issue. They found it very enjoyable, and some of those little things that are repetitive weren't as big of a deal to them simply because they weren't having to rush through those parts and constantly have to do it over and over and over again so quickly. And then we have an interview with PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan on making PlayStation 5 more successful than PS4. And what's going on in here is he gives a conversation. He talks about how they have grown their games organically. He wanted to make sure that everyone was aware that while it's fine to go out and spend billions of dollars in order to acquire game studios like Xbox did, they have grown everything organically. They've put a lot of focus in making sure that their first-party studios that they already have grow together, that they work together and develop in order to create these incredible games, making sure they stay on top of the times and, having female protagonists, having people like Aloy come into the game and be the hero rather than your typical stereotypical, Nathan Drake type of guy. Sucker Punch has started out with the Infamous games, and those games slowly developed. They were fun, but they weren't top of the line games all the time. They were probably oftentimes closer to a AA feeling game than a AAA game, just because, how they had to be developed and how they helped them grow generation over generation with their games. And so we see Second Son come out, and now all of a sudden we have Ghost of Tsushima, which is just absolutely incredible to play. One of the most beautiful games that you've ever seen, and it's something that people who play it love it even more than the critics did. And the critics, they liked it. They gave it mostly 8s, but then the public comes in and plays it, and they're like, oh, the small flaws that got this bumped down from a critical review are not enough to override how incredible and beautiful this game is. And now people are raving about the multiplayer with it. And he makes a big deal about just the organic growth of their games, and talks about how having the different protagonists and growing with the times has helped them in multiple countries with selling their games and just keeping them on top of where the industry needs to go. And he also talks about how they don't feel that they've actually peaked and that the game numbers don't properly represent what exactly a successful console is, because they said in that case they would have peaked with the PlayStation 2. And he says they're seeing a lot of things where they're starting to get a 50-year-old gamer coming back. Like, they used to have that drop off as people got older for gaming. But now they're seeing some of those gamers come back. Perhaps they had kids, and their kids were the ones they were getting systems for, or the money just wasn't there for that because their primary thing was raising their family. But now their kids are grown and getting out of the house, and they have those extra funds, and they're getting back into something that they absolutely love. So they're seeing this organic growth happen with the older community as well, for those who are in the 50 plus, in order to help grow that industry as well. And then we're going to move over into some tech news, where we have over on Wccftech. Now, this article wasn't specifically about this, but inside of this is where we get information that AMD is going to get a full liquid cooler support from EKWB. So when their new 3900 XT launches in December, you'll be able to pick up and use a full liquid cooler setup with it right away. This article specifically talks about how new partners are going to have their cards supposedly greenlit here soon, but to expect a short supply on the 6900 XT at launch, just because partners are just now starting to get availability to that. Most of that availability will probably primarily be AMD's launch card. So if you want something other than the launch card, then you're probably going to have to fight to get one of those. But the fact that there is liquid cooling available to this, and if you are at the peak on the high end already, the fact that you can just go ahead, take apart that card, put on your liquid cooler for extreme overclocking right from the get-go, may entice you to want to go ahead and get the AMD card for the reference card anyways. And then we have additional information where while AMD is promising to go ahead with the NVIDIA 4K gaming and more, one big missing piece in the battle is lacking of an equivalent NVIDIA's DLSS. NVIDIA's AI-powered super sampling technology has been transformative for the games that support it and bringing great image quality and high frame rates by simply toggling a game setting. So what's going on in here is this is just talking about how AMD is developing their own process to compete with DLSS, that they want to be platform agnostic. Basically, they want it to be set up so you don't have to have AMD graphics card, and it doesn't have to be an NVIDIA graphics card. You can go any setup, and perhaps you have an Intel graphics card, and then you'll still be able to take advantage of the setup and setting. We'll see if that actually becomes true. This is something that I could see them looking at and being like, maybe we should just go ahead and hold on to this for ourselves. NVIDIA's already doing their own. There's no reason to give our product for free to them. So not sure that this is fully going to be follow that way with being able to make everyone have access to this process. But who knows? So far, AMD has been very open and willing to share on their process and information. And given that they are getting such an extreme bump for simply owning all their hardware, if you're buying new hardware for the 5000 series for the processors and the 6000 series for the graphics cards, then maybe they will just open this up and be like, hey, we're already the ones that support Linux, so we're just going to make this open over on Windows as much as we can as well. And then PNY has announced the XLR8 CS3040 M.2 NVMe SSD, providing not only fantastic sequential read speeds, but also extruded aluminum heatsink on the model. So you go in and you can see it's got sequential read and write speeds of 4,300 megabytes per second, megabytes per second for sequential, but only on the 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte. It drops down to 2,600 megabytes sequential for the 500 gigabyte, and possibly lower if they do choose to come out with like a 250 or something. It's not super common, but some OEMs may purchase that type of use. And you can just see it's pretty typical there. But there's the heatsink, and you just slide it right on in there and then push it down and screw it in. So that's that setup with their new heatsink that you can purchase for this. And then we're going to transition over into some streaming news, and we have an update from Netflix that they are increasing their price. So this is over on Netflix's website, and the monthly cost, as you can see here, has gone up. And if you are a current subscriber, you can expect that price is going to go up in the next couple of months as they roll out the pricing updates. So basic is staying at $8.99, and that's for one person streaming standard and gets you unlimited, but no HD, no Ultra HD. It's literally just standard viewing, and they leave it at that simply because it allows them to advertise at that cheap price and not be lying about it, even though that's not the service that anybody actually wants, because no one has a standard definition TV anymore. No one wants a 480 TV processing and for video. You want at least 1080, and to do that you have to go up to $14 or $18 if you want 4K streaming, which is where a lot of us are going, and most of us are going to be here in the near future, if not already there. And that at $18, that's getting quite pricey. Now, there are things like if you're a T-Mobile customer, you do have the advantage of having basically standard paid for you. So if you're one of those customers that has that, you can get standard free, and they will allow you to go in and upgrade to the premium, and you just pay the cost difference. So you lose the $14 is cut out of that, so you just pay the $4 difference to go up to the $18 every month. So take that for what you will, but other cell phone companies use other streaming services. So if you don't have that type of deal, then you're going to be taking a hit on a monthly basis for this during the time when it seems pretty bad to go in and raise the prices on people when you should be doing better than ever because of everything that's going on. And then, final news, Disney Plus, The Mandalorian, the new season is now streaming. So I'm excited to watch this. I have not seen it yet. I will be watching this evening with my wife, and that and Nightmare Before Christmas, because happy Halloween, everyone. It's coming up tomorrow, and don't know that I will be on tomorrow. That'll be a busy day for me. So go out, check that out. If you haven't seen The Mandalorian yet, it actually is closer to what Star Trek was than Star Wars has been. Because Star Wars is normally like this big overarching story. But they came in here and made this very episodic, which is more next-gen Star Trek. So it still has the overarching story that plays throughout it, but every episode has a problem by episode for the first season. Now, we don't know if that's going to hold true in this one. They have said that they are going to do more focus on actually the backstory and what's going on with Baby Yoda, the child. So check that out. And speaking of the child, if you want a hat that is similar to that, make sure you head over to facebook.com Geeky Gifts by Amber, and you can check out one of her awesome Baby Yoda style hats. It's got the ears that poke out. You can get the big old eyes that look at you, and just an overall awesome product, along with all kinds of other nerdy hats. You can get her stylized Pikmin or other products that she makes. So make sure you head over there and check those out. I'm not wearing one today. I normally do. But if you check out my prior videos, you'll see those hats that I wear on there. But that's going to be it for today. Remember to click the follow button if you haven't. If you're over on YouTube watching this, make sure you click the subscribe button. And follow me on Twitter as The Gray Falcon. Until next time, have a good one.